Hello, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Megan, and I'm a member of our training and support team here at Hawks Learning. Today, we're going to go over your student dashboard and cover everything from how to complete an assignment to how to navigate through the dashboard. If you have any questions throughout our time together today, I have reserved some time at the end of our meeting to go over those questions. So please use the Q&A feature found in our meeting to enter those throughout, and we will address them at the end of the presentation. With that, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. As you can see, I am on my student dashboard. You may access this by going to learn.hawkslearning.com or through an LMS such as Canvas, D2L, or Blackboard. I encourage you to access the Hawks platform however your instructor has asked you to, whether that is through your LMS or accessing it via Learn. Regardless of how you get to Hawks, once you are on your student dashboard, you're going to see exactly what I have on my screen at this time. I'm going to start by covering some of the navigation options that you see across the top of my screen before I take us into a lesson and focusing there on how to complete the lessons. As you can see across the top of my screen, I have access to my grades as well as access to the associated ebook for this course, so the digital version of the textbook. Over here on the right-hand side, I have my alerts. These are going to draw my attention to any high priority items like these 6 assignments that I have here. So that red bubble to catch your attention and let you know that you have some items that you need to complete. To the right of that, this is where you will receive any internal messages coming from your instructor for your course using Hawks. There are a couple of things that I will point out from the drop down under my name on the right hand side. The first that I'll bring us to is the Give Feedback Win prizes. At Hawks, we love to hear from both instructors and students and get your feedback about what's working well, what may not be working well for you, and any ideas that you have for Hawks to help with the student experience. Whenever you give us feedback, you'll be entered into a monthly drawing for a gift card that will be sent to you over email. Above that, we have access to our live support. Hawks offers live technical support to our students in 2 ways. We have 24/7 chat that you can utilize to get help at any time of the day, 7 days a week. If you would like to call in and speak to someone, you can call our support number between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. This is going to be really helpful if you're having trouble with the student platform, something isn't loading or things like that. You can contact customer student support and they'll be happy to help you. And above that, we do have a partnership with a third-party company called Wyzant to offer you a credit towards tutoring. This credit will get you about 45 minutes to an hour of tutoring. So I encourage you to use that before a large assignment is due or a midterm or a final to get that additional support. We offer this partnership because our live support is technical support, not a tutoring service. So that's important to remember the difference between those two services. Now, to focus in on the English courseware that you're going to be using, I'm going to draw your attention down here. As you can see, I have some mini to-do lists with my assignments organized by due date. So I have some overdue assignments as well as assignments that are due today. And then I have assignments that have a due date within a week and ones that are due later on down the road. I'm going to take us into our course so that we can view our expanded to-do list. So you're going to see the same categories here, but in expanded with the associated due date listed as well. In Hawks, we have a few different assignment types. I'm going to start with our Hawks pre-created lessons that you can complete, and I'll take us into one on narrative writing. When you complete any of these Hawks pre-created lessons, you're going to follow the same three-step path of learn, practice, and certify. Each serves a different purpose. So I'll start us in our first step, which is learn. Every learn screen is going to start by listing the objectives of this lesson for you so you know what the focus of this content is going to be. As we navigate through, you're going to notice that the writing style is very conversational, and this content has actually been written by instructors who teach these same types of courses. What you'll also notice as we move through is this is a much more interactive presentation of content as compared to your traditional textbook. Here is an example of one type of engagement box that you'll see. This on your own box prompts you to practice immediate application of the content that you're learning and asks for your own examples so that you can create kind of your own frame of reference to this content. You do have the ability to print this out either for your own reference, or if your instructor asks you to submit some work, you can print some of these activities as well. You'll notice other engagement boxes as well that are going to prompt your engagement with the content as well as your critical thinking and application. This reflection question is an example of that, as well as this group activity. You'll also see writing environments that are going to challenge you to make connections to your academic, personal, and professional life, since the skills that you're learning are going to affect you in all three of those scenarios. You can see on the next page that that is followed with the academic use of these writing skills. And as you can see, I've been navigating through with this next, and I can also go back to a page. So I want to draw your attention to the top left. This watch is going to contain a video that has an instructor narrating the key concepts and components of this content, which will be really helpful for those of you that consider yourself more of an auditory or visual learner. You can also easily skip through the content to find what you're looking for by using this pages navigation. And I'll use that to bring us to our lesson wrap-up section, which includes two really key components of Learn. The first one being the key terms. Every lesson is going to wrap up by bringing your attention to that key vocabulary along with the definitions, and then move you into a writing application where you'll have an annotated essay that integrates the key components from this lesson into one cohesive writing piece for you to take a look at. So you can see as I go through the various annotations. Whenever I'm ready and comfortable, I can exit Learn. The great thing is I can also always come back to Learn if I need to. Next, we encourage you to move into Practice, which is just what it sounds like. It is a practice that allows you to try out some of the questions related to what you're learning without being penalized for incorrect answers. What you'll also see are learning aids that help you with that content that may be a little more challenging or where you need further clarification before you're confident in answering questions related to that independently. I'm going to highlight those learning aids for you, starting here on our tutor feature. If you get to a question and you're not really sure where to begin, you can utilize that tutor feature. This is going to start off by giving you a hint, which is going to provide you with specific help and direction on this exact question. So you'll see for this question that's focused on sensory details, it's first giving us that relevant definition for this key term and letting us know what sensory details means, which is descriptions that appeal to our five senses. And then it gives me an additional example to make sure I can apply this on my own. So it's giving me a sentence, and then it's telling me this doesn't include any details that appeal to my senses. What does Jules see, hear, feel, taste, or smell? And then gives me an example with a sentence that does use strong sensory details, such as a battered desk and clammy palms. What you'll also notice in the top right is that you have access to the Learn screen. So if you wanted to go back to those Learn screens that we were just looking at, you can access those from here. And you also have access to the solution. What you'll see here is an explanation as to why the answer that is correct is correct. So it's letting us know that these sentences are correct because they go beyond reporting just basic information and use strong sensory details. When I navigate back to practice, I'm going to move on to my next question. Coming over here to the right, if I get to a question that I don't feel I need to work on, I'm comfortable and confident with that skill and content, I can skip that question. Now, if I want to answer a question, I can simply, in this case, click to select. It might be a multiple choice like the previous one, but I answered incorrectly. Now, I can either try again if I know my error or utilize our explain error feature. So here it's letting me know that my answer is incorrect and then giving me that why. So helping me understand why and giving me immediate feedback. So it's reminding me that nonlinear stories jump around to different times and places and often include flashbacks and flash forwards. It also gives me the additional help of the hint, learn, and solution, just like I have in Tutor. So if I need to utilize those learning aids further, I can do that. When I go back to practice, I can try and correct my answer. And once I get it correct, I can either move on to the next question, or I can utilize try similar, since this is a question that gave me a little trouble. When I utilize try similar, it's going to assess me on the same skill, but it's going to give me a different scenario in that same question. So I'm still looking at nonlinear order, but the scenario in the question is different. So I have to see if I can still apply that skill. Whenever I want to stop my practice session, I have the ability to save and exit practice, or I can also exit without saving. The last step of each lesson is our certify component. This is the part of each lesson that's going to count towards your grade. So learn and practice are helping you understand and practice the skills and the content, and certify is where you're working for credit. Each time you go to enter certify, you'll see a mastery percentage in the bottom left-hand corner. I'll explain that further once we're in certify, but that is the percent of questions that you need to answer correct in order to receive credit for this lesson. Once I go into the lesson, you'll notice some similarities as well as some differences between practice pretty quickly. The first thing that you'll notice is that we've removed all of those learning aids across the bottom of your screen, so you don't have the opportunity to get help from the tutor, skip, or try similar. We want you to test your knowledge and your understanding of this content and these skills on an independent level. With that said, you will notice that in that practice session, I had 15 questions, and I also have 15 questions here in Certify. I'm going to have the same number of questions and the same question types. So if I did that practice session, nothing in Certify should come as a surprise to me, because it's going to be addressing the same skills using the same question types. Now, one large difference is this number in the top right and what that means for me in Certify. I mentioned that Certify takes a mastery-based approach, and in this case, I need to answer 80% of the questions correct. In order to answer 80% of these 15 questions correct, I can get up to 3 questions incorrect. So as long as my number of incorrect answers stays below 3, I'll reach that mastery level of 80%. If I answer a question incorrectly, my lives or strikes up here in this heart will decrease. If I get a 4th question incorrect in this Certify, I'm not going to get credit for this lesson. I'm going to be taken out of Certify and be put back into practice, where I'm working on a customized question set based on what I just missed in Certify. The great thing about Hawks is that I can reattempt Certify as many times as I need without a penalty. So if I have to try a few times to get to that 80%, that's okay. Once I reach that 80%, whether it's on my first try or my 3rd try, as long as I do that by the due date, I'm going to receive a 100% for this particular lesson. We want you to really understand and master a large amount of the content in this lesson, so that when you're going to complete larger assignments such as writings you feel comfortable and confident applying these skills to those assignments. If you want to save your progress and come back, much like you did in practice, you have the opportunity to do that in Certify as well. Once you save and come back, it will bring you back to that same question, and you can pick up where you left off. So in conclusion, Certify is a great place for you to really demonstrate your understanding of the content by reaching that mastery level. And once you do, you are rewarded with that 100% as long as it's done by the due date. If you fall below that mastery level by having more than the number displayed of incorrect answers, so in this case, more than 3 incorrect, that's okay. You have this help in practice and in Learn to go back and work through that and then reattempt Certify as many times as you need in order to receive that credit. So we really want you to have a strong understanding of this content on an independent level so that you're comfortable using it beyond just the Hawks software. I mentioned that this was one type of assignment that you might see in Hawks. Your instructor may also give you a test such as a midterm or final in Hawks. If you would ever like to prepare for a test on your own, you can create your own practice test using our practice web test feature to see how you would do on the actual test. And the last type of assignment that we have is what we call a SMART review. This is a peer-to-peer submission platform that allows you to submit a writing piece to your class to then be reviewed by a classmate for certain writing and grammar skills that allow them to tag certain pieces of your writing, as well as leave extensive comments on those writings. There also is an option for a peer-to-instructor submission. So your instructor may also use SMART Review for you to submit your writings for them to review. I hope that this helps you as you begin to feel more comfortable with Hawks. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and see if we have any questions. And it does not look like we have any questions at this time. If you do have any questions, feel free to utilize our student support that I mentioned, or ask your instructor and they can provide you with further guidance. Thank you again for joining us today, and I hope you have a wonderful semester.